YouTube channel. Today's lecture is about multiple equivalence to medical terms and translation, problems and solutions. This is a study that I conducted a couple of years ago. The aims of my study were to analyze the Arabic equivalence given to a sample of English medical terms selected from several English-Arabic medical dictionaries, and to find out the types of equivalence given to English medical terms, to find out the problems multiple equivalence pose for student translators, and students' responses to a questionnaire survey about the problems they face with Arabic medical terminology, and finally to give some recommendations for translation instruction. The terminology corpus consisted of 369 English medical terms with 2 or more Arabic equivalents, and I collected those from 5 online bilingual medical dictionaries. Bilingual here, English, Arabic medical dictionaries. The student sample consisted of 63 undergraduate translation students from the College of Languages and Translation enrolled in a medical translation course, and the students study 2 hours a week. The students were given a test consisting of 30 Arabic medical terminology selected from the sample, and they were asked to explain or define each term in Arabic. In addition to the test, the students responded to a questionnaire survey with an open-ended question that asked them to state their difficulties with multiple Arabic equivalents while translating a medical text from English to Arabic and give examples. Then what I did, I analyzed students' responses qualitatively. In order to analyze the types of multiple equivalents given to a particular medical term, I made a list of all types of equivalents. So here we have a classification of the multiple equivalents. The multiple equivalent can be, or equivalence can be, a borrowing and a loan word, can be a transliteration, can be a synonym, can be an eponym, can be a regional variety, can be derived forms, can be a descriptive equivalent, can be an old equivalent and a modern equivalent, can be a calque, can be a rewording of another equivalent, can be a technical equivalent and a common equivalent. By this I mean a technical equivalent used by specialized people and the common equivalent used by ordinary people, and also equivalence to a polysemous source term. Now here I have examples of the types of Arabic equivalents given in medical dictionaries with examples. For example, some equivalents consist of a borrowing plus an Arabic term, such as leukemia and saratan al-dam. Leukemia is a borrowing and saratan al-dam is the Arabic term. The equivalence can be an Arabized term plus an Arabic term plus an explanation. For example, clinicia, saririya, and ayadi for clinical. The equivalence can be a borrowing, an Arabized word, a synonym, an explanatory compound, and or an explanation. For example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 equivalents to the word edema. Edema, which is a borrowing, تورم مائي, استسقاء, and تجمع سوائل. تجمع سوائل is the explanatory compound or explanation. The equivalents can also be derived forms with different meanings used in different contexts, such as ضيق and تضيق as equivalents to stenosis. Now, ضيق and تضيق, they are derived forms from ضاق يضيق, and each of them follows a different derivational pattern, and they are used in different contexts. The equivalents can be regional varieties, such as العناية المركزة, العناية الفائقة, العناية المشددة for intensive care. And these equivalents, each of them is used in a different country. So in Jordan, they use one term. In Syria, they use, for example, العناية المشددة. In Saudi Arabia, we say العناية المركزة. The equivalents can be 2 meanings for an English term that is a polyseme with several meanings, such as the word medicine. The word medicine has several meanings. One of them is طب, the other one is دواء. That's why we have 2 equivalents. The equivalents can be also synonyms, can be a descriptive or explanatory word, an eponym, 2 names used for the same disease, an old term, plus a modern term, plus a technical term and a common term, such as نخر موتي, تنكرز, or تنخر, as equivalents to necrosis. The equivalents can be also, the equivalent can be a calc, which is a loan translation, as in physical therapy, العلاج الفيزيائي. And also we say العلاج الطبيعي. But العلاج الفيزيائي is a loan translation of physical therapy. The equivalents can also be phrases that are a rewording of each other, such as الغدد الصم and الغدد الصماء, as equivalents to endocrine system. Now, in this table, I have the results of the analysis, and I calculated the percentage of each type of equivalent. I found out that 39.5%, about 40% of the equivalents were Arabic equivalents are synonyms. In 23%, the equivalents were descriptive equivalents or explanatory equivalents. In 22%, the equivalents used by both specialists and non-specialists were used. In 20%, the equivalents were loan words or transliterated words. The English term, but it is written in Arabic script. In 14.5, the source term is a polyseme with different meanings like medicine. In 15%, the equivalents are calcs. In 10%, the equivalents are different derived forms. In 8%, 2 or 3 names for the same disease are given. And in another 8%, the phrases with a different word order are used. In 6%, Arabized terms are used. And in 2%, eponyms are used. Now, evaluation of the equivalence given. In 27%, unfamiliar Arabic equivalents were used, such as al-mu'afkala as an equivalent to pancreas. Of course, the common term in Arabic that we use in everyday speech is al-pancreas. لكن al-mu'afkala is an old term and most people are not familiar with it. In 18%, unnecessary synonyms, Arabized words, and loan words were used. In 13%, incorrect derived forms, spelling, definite and indefinite forms or morphology were used. No punctuation marks are used to separate the synonyms, definitions, or defined words. For example, radiologist, الشعاعي. Radiologist is a person, أخصائي الأشعة. Soft palate, الحنك, this is wrong. Influenza, النزلة الوافدة, which is also funny. And sulfate, sulfatat, which is also wrong. Sulfate is kibritat, from sulfur. Sulfur kibrit, sulfate kibritat. 10%, in 10%, ambiguous equivalents were used, such as at-ta'addum for epidermopoiesis. At-ta'addum, even me, I don't know what they mean by at-ta'addum. I know that epidermis, this is al-adama, which is a layer of the skin, al-bashra wal-adama. It's underneath. The skin consists of several layers. The top layer that we see, this is al-bashra, and then underneath that, al-adama. But at-ta'addum, what they mean by at-ta'addum, I have no idea. In 9%, exact equivalents or equivalents that are commonly used are not listed. For example, reflux. People say al-irtijaa al-mari'i. This is common and it's very comprehensible, but it's not used in the dictionaries. As far as students' responses to the medical terminology test and their views of the multiple Arabic equivalents are concerned, I found out that students were not familiar with most Arabic medical terms on the test. They recognized and gave correct explanations to fewer than 10%. For example, they knew the word al-khidab, al-niqras, khuddaj, al-aid. 80% were faulty responses and items left blank. 80% of the items on the test were faulty, or the students did not know the term and left them blank. Descriptive or explanatory equivalents help clarify the meaning of unfamiliar Arabic terms. English acronyms were translated by several words in Arabic, as Arabic has very few acronyms. Some acronyms are borrowed in Arabic, such as AIDS, we say al-AIDS, and others are translated. For example, TB. In the case of TB, we don't write T and B in Arabic, but the equivalent is as-sul or ad-daran. Providing different wordings helps students choose the one that fits the syntactic content of translated senses. Some Arabized equivalents, such as al-bitai, is meaningless to students. I don't even know what they mean by al-bitai. I never heard of it. The students did not know which Arabic equivalent to choose. They did not know which synonym to use in the sense they are translating. They are more familiar with the loan word than the Arabic equivalent. Thus, they didn't know whether to use the loan word or its Arabic equivalent. The students reported that they are not familiar with all the meanings of a polysemous source term and which equivalent is used in medicine. They didn't know how to pronounce Arabic equivalents, and they found it difficult to remember some equivalents. Regional varieties seem to be difficult for students. Many students found some equivalents easier to understand than others. For example, the term necrosis and apoptosis denote how cells die, but the Arabic equivalent to apoptosis, al-maut al-mubarmaj, is easier to understand than necrosis al-nakhr. Al-nakhr, I would imagine when I hear it that it has something to do with teeth. Some students are not familiar with the Arabic equivalent given by the dictionary, and they said sometimes the same Arabic equivalent like khunaq is used for two or more terms such as diphtheria and angina, and the same multiple Arabic equivalents exist for imaging and X-ray. صورة شعاعية, أشعة, أو صورة أشعة or صورة أشعة. When an English term consists of a root and several suffixes, suffixes such as bovine spongiform encephalopathy, and this is a long term, and the equivalent is also a long term, اعتلال دماغي بقري إسفنجي الشكل. The Arabic equivalent is usually several words rather than a single term. But still, even in English, we have 3 words. But each word consists, encephalopathy, it consists of 2 parts. So we use an independent lexical item for each part of the word. Same thing, spongiform. We use 2 words, one for spongy, one for form. And then bovine, of course, it's 1 word. English Arabic dictionaries may not contain the term that they need. They also said that most entries have no punctuation marks to separate the synonyms, definitions, and the term. Missing punctuation marks makes it difficult for them to tell which word is a synonym of which word. At the end of this paper, I would like to give some recommendations. One recommendation is to raise students' awareness of multiple Arabic equivalents to English medical terms by collecting English medical terms with multiple Arabic equivalents, examining the multiple Arabic equivalents, evaluating equivalence in terms of ease of use, popularity, accuracy, context, and country where a term is used. I also recommend raising the students' awareness of word formation processes in English and Arabic, and providing students with adequate background knowledge through reading medical texts in both English and Arabic, and providing students with research skills to be able to check reliable websites and a variety of monolingual and bilingual medical dictionaries. In addition, I recommend that students read the text, understand it, look up Arabic equivalents to unknown medical terms, then translate the text. Students should examine the following. They should examine the semantic, morphological, and syntactic context in which a term is used. They should examine the equivalent that's popular and common in a particular country. They should examine the subfield, the medical subfield, in which a term is common, and whether the target audience is a specialist or non-specialist. And also, I recommend the use of a single term rather than a compound or multiple word phrases. Dictionaries should also define or explain unfamiliar Arabic equivalents in a footnote. If a loan word is more common than an Arabic equivalent, the Arabic equivalent can be used with reference to the loan word made in a footnote. And regional varieties should be referred to in a footnote or a cross-reference. With this, I come to the end of this lecture. The paper, I have written the paper and it is published. If you like to read the paper in full, you will find all of these things that I talked about briefly. You will find them in detail in the paper with multiple examples. Also, the dictionaries that I collected my sample from. You can find those dictionaries and my references in the paper. You can download the paper from my page on ResearchGate and academia. And finally, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to like this video and share it with your classmates and colleagues. Thank you very much and see you again in another lecture in the future. Goodbye for now.